And we're back, 2022. Is it 20? Yeah, 22, which is like 2022. First episode of the year, and I thought it would only be fitting that we get one of the original casts back. He's the number one guest on this show. Like episode 1, we're up to 51 now. You know, he's back, I'm back. I'm talking about none other than Luke Jackson. How have you been, my man?
Hello, my brother. It's good to see you. I've been good. I've been really, really good.
So what's been happening? Because to be honest with you, it's been a minute, right? Like the last time I saw you, you know, we were going through fight camp together.
Yep.
Obviously, you I don't even know. Was it last year or was it even the year before?
Yeah, it was December.
It was December of the year 2019.
2020.
2020?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we're 2022. So it's like, mate, I'm so lost. Every time we get to the start of the year, like I am so lost.
Yeah. It's just it's nearly like 13 months since the fight.
Yeah, right. So I guess where have you been hiding, mate?
Well, I went through one of my episodes of self-destruction as it happens from time to time in my life. It's always been something that I've gone through. So this one was quite brutal. It took its toll on me physically, mentally, emotionally. But like always, I come out of it, and I made a deal with myself when I come out of this one that I'll make some changes in my life, and that's what I've done, and I feel really good.
And what kind of changes are we talking about?
Well, I made a promise to myself that no matter what happened in my life, you know, whether that be lose a boxing fight, you know, one of my parents passed away, you know, my dogs, something happened to my dogs, I wouldn't resort to alcohol or drugs or anything to try and help me through the situation. I'd just cop it. I'd just feel it and use training to help me through the rough time rather than alcohol or drugs as I have done in the past.
And why do you think, I mean, it's not just yourself, right? Like a lot of people go through this. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's been times that I've had bad things happen as well. I mean, Rocky passing away was one, where we tend to lean, I mean, I'll say I didn't lean towards drugs, but say the alcohol or whatever. What do you think it is that, I guess, makes it so easy to fall into that hole?
Well, because it's easy. That's simple. It's drugs and alcohol is easy. You know, like it's the easy option. You know, like just feeling it and just being real with your emotions is quite hard sometimes, especially for guys. You know, like and I just was sick of it. I was just sick of feeling like shit. So I tried to from a daily basis. I don't feel that good most of the time, but when something goes wrong in my life, then obviously I feel a little bit worse. So yeah, I think it's just an easy option.
And I have to ask, was it just to do with your last fight, or was it a case that there were more things, I guess, going wrong at that time?
Well, it's been a build-up since I moved to Sydney. I haven't had the best of runs. You know, I won't go into detail with what's happened, but it hasn't been easy for me. And I think that was probably just the icing on the cake. You know, that fight, I was with a new trainer, Fidel, which, you know, I love and respect the guy, but one thing that I realised from that fight, I remember my old trainer Billy saying, he always used to say, you know, like, we shouldn't do too much hard sparring, you know, especially now I've done all my hard sparring. I know how to fight, and I'm 37 now, and when I had the fight I was 36, and remember he was taking me to spar a guy by the name of Brock Jarvis, which is an up and coming fighter. He signed with Matchroom Boxing, and we would go there every week, Wednesday, and we'd just have wars, man. We'd punch the absolute shit out of each other. And also on top of that, I was sparring guys like Con McKenzie and Paul Fleming, and I was sparring probably 3 times a week, and that's very, very, very silly, like for a man of my age, in my stage of my boxing career, to having wars in the gym. But I was just doing as I was told, and I was sparring really, really well. And then on the night in the dressing room, man, that was probably the worst feeling I've ever had. Walking to the ring that night, I just knew something was, like, I was just depleted. I was gone. I was exhausted. I left everything in the gym, man, sparring hard, and I was just busted. And I got out there and I just couldn't do anything, even though I still feel I just nicked the fight, and a lot of people did. Ultimately I lost the fight. One judge didn't even give me a round. I won't even give the guy credit and mention his name, because that guy has no idea about boxing. To not give me one round in that fight is a disgrace, and that guy should have a look at himself in the mirror. It's absolute disgrace. And I'm not saying it's his fault, the reason I went off the rails, but that was a big reason, one of the big reasons to why I just, I was just like, fuck this. I put so much into this sport, and then I just felt shit. New coach, and I just felt fucking horrible.
I have to ask you though, what do you mean by hard sparring? Because let's go back to Billy when you're fighting under Billy, and the crazy thing about that was, obviously you had a few sparring sessions there. Sam Goodman, who's now a good friend of mine as well, he was one of your sparring partners, and the crazy thing in this instance was that Tyson was actually one of your sparring partners as well. And the one thing that I always say is that boxers kind of are hell bent for leather during these sparring sessions. So like, to me right now, when you say like Billy says that you shouldn't do hard sparring, when I was watching you spar these guys, to me that was hard sparring. So and I only relate it back to the MMA space where a lot of the guys they're sparring at as we call it 60%, 70%, and so like seeing that, to me, that is what I would call hard sparring. So if you're kind of justifying that as soft sparring, what makes hard sparring?
Well, that in like some of the spars I believe with Sam Goodman were quite hard, but the guy was a little bit lighter than me at that stage in my career, and it was, it was once every maybe 2 weeks or once a week, but it was controlled a little bit. Like when we're sparring Brock, the guy walks around really heavy, and it was a small ring, and the guy's just relentless. And I'm a couple of years older since that Frampton camp, and it was just wars, man, absolute wars. Like you could have sold that sparring, and on TV. It was crazy, and like, it was just good for both ways. Like, I give it to him and he give it to me. Like, it's not like one person just got the better of it. It was very even, hard sparring. But the thing was, I'm at this age, I couldn't recover. My body couldn't recover, and I left everything in the gym. And it's a very stupid mistake on my part that I didn't speak up about it. But as always, as an athlete, you just do as you're told, and that's what I did. I thought that was going to benefit me, and unfortunately, it didn't.
And with that fight, what was it different to say your normal fight? Just as I mentioned, he was a sparring partner of yours. So like, does that change anything, even if it's just mentally, I guess, because you have done rounds with him in the past? Like, did you, and I'm not going to say like, did you overlook him, but did you kind of go, okay, well, I know in the sparring rounds I was getting the better of him. Like, no. Did you have any of those moments or no?
No, the only thing that was on my mind is the corner was a shambles, because Fidel wasn't allowed in the corner either, you know. So, and I had three different voices in my ear that night, you know, and it wouldn't have mattered who. To be fair, it wouldn't have mattered who was talking to me. I was that exhausted, I couldn't take any information in, and I got head clashed in the first round and a big scar on my eye. And it's just what could have went wrong for that fight, and it's just like I remember coming out and I backed him up and I threw a 1-2 or something, and as soon as I threw the punch, I'm like, oh wow, here we go, you know, like. The guy should have stopped me. That's how bad I felt. The guy should have stopped me. But credit, I like Tyson. Tyson's a good guy, you know. He's just doing what he's got to do, and as all fighters. But just the whole situation behind that fight and what I put into it, and the first fight after not being with Billy Hussein, it's just a slap in the face to me, you know. And the one judge not giving me a round, and then I was just angry at the world, man. And when you're angry at the world, it's a dangerous place to be. You don't care, and I didn't care about myself. I didn't care about anyone, and so I just went missing. I went missing for about 4 months. I went into a self-destruction, and yeah, it was not good.
And can we ask where you went to now that you're back?
Most of the time I was just by myself at home, to be honest with you. Drinking and whatnot, you know, like just I didn't train for about 2 months, which is unheard of for me. I've trained pretty much my whole life, you know, like my boxing career is coming up to 20 years since my first fight, you know. So, and I can't remember taking that much time off in my career. So I was upset, I was sad, I was angry, I was everything. So, and I just turned to alcohol. And whatnot to try and fix it, and it just made everything a lot worse.
And was there ever a thought of throwing in the towel, so to speak? Like, just because you're looking at your age now and where you are in your career right now, was there, I mean, is there still a thought of that? Like, are we going to see you back in the ring, or?
Yeah, you will. You will see me back in the ring. I'm training with Jeff Fennick now. You know, and he even said to me, he's like, Bella, like, what were they doing? Like, they see, like, come out and spar, like, he sees, like, the sparring we was having. He's like, they shouldn't have allowed that to go on, you know, like, and every week I was there, just, like, we were punching the shit out of each other. And obviously my body couldn't recover, you know, like, and that's a lesson that I've had to learn.
But obviously through that, is that your first sort of interaction with Jeff, like, during those sessions? Because you obviously train with him now, right?
Yeah.
So is that kind of the silver lining, like, or did you know Jeff before then? Or
I knew Jeff. So the funny thing is, I was going to go and train with Jeff when I left Billy Hussein, and then for whatever reason I didn't. And now I'm here, and you know they say everything happens for a reason, and I've just got to try and believe that, and finish my career. You know, having lived out my full potential, and that's all. That's one of my goals this year, is just to. You know, I did want to have the rematch with Tyson, and we did try for that, but for whatever reason that hasn't happened. So yeah, whether that's an opportunity or it's not, but I do want to fight again this year and possibly finish my career this year.
Okay, and with Tyson though as well, he is a bigger fighter, right? Like,
yeah, he fights.
So did you step up in class there, or did he step down?
No, I went up to lightweight. You know, it's just a lot of things that could have been done a lot better, you know. But as a fighter, I just do as I'm told. If it was me being in control of myself, like if I was my manager of myself, or if it was my fighter, I would have made some rules about that, you know. Like, one, they only made it a 6-round fighter. I'm not a 6-round fighter. I'm a 10-round fighter. 2, they made it a lightweight. We should have made them come down to super feather, like Paul Fleming did. The next fight after me, they fought Paul Fleming at super featherweight. That's what they should have fought me at. They fought Paul Fleming at over 10 rounds. That's what they should have fought me at. We can go on all day with what went wrong, but the main thing was the sparring. That's what fucked me. Just too hard, man. Too hard sparring. for that camp, and it paid its toll. And no one has to suffer but me. No one else suffers but me.
Well, that's why they call it a lonely sport, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, right. It's kind of crazy. And have you looked back at that fight, like, or is it?
Nah, I
is
haven't
it?
watched it. I haven't
So
watched it.
you just want to erase it? You
I
don't.
haven't watched it. I haven't watched it. There's a song I walked out to. I love that song. I haven't listened to it. I can't listen to that song. Every time it comes on, turned off. I'm twisted like that.
Do you think you'll ever watch it though?
I don't know. Probably. I haven't watched my Olympic fight.
And why is that?
I just don't want to. It's just like, fuck. It's just like shit time.
Have you watched back the Frampton fight?
Bits and pieces. I was out of my depth then. The thing about the Olympic Games fight, I should have beat that guy. And I beat the Olympic silver medalists. You know, it's just I beat the Olympic silver medalist and I lost to a guy from China. You know, like, and no disrespect to Tyson Lanchy, but I should have wiped him out. I should have wiped him out. Carl Frampton, he was just too good for me. Wouldn't have mattered where I fought the guy, he would have beat me. So it's a different feeling, you know, like when you know you could have done something or should have done this, that, and you didn't do it. That just eats at me. But if I'm not good enough, I'll take it on the chin. And Carl Frampton was just way out of my depth. It was just a step too high, you know. But that's it.
And what made Frampton so good? Is it you think he was more technical, speed? What do you think?
His distance was very good, you know. Like I couldn't time his jab, and that's one thing that I really try to do against all opponents is read their jab very well. And if I can read their jab, then I find that it's very hard for them to hit me with anything else, you know. But I couldn't read his jab. He was doing this weird thing where he'd go to jab, and then as it come out, then he'd like pour it and then bang it, like jam it down his throat. It was just like, it was hard to read. That's one thing that I remember, and it was a lot harder to hit than what I anticipated. So that it's just out of my depth.
And he's retired now too, right?
Yeah, he's retired now. He's got some kids and he's happy, so that's very good.
Nice. So when you say this could potentially be your last year, like, what are we looking at? 1 fight, 2 fights?
Yeah, look, Jeff just wants to have me fight, see how I feel, and then if I feel good, then maybe again. But if not, then like I can feel it, man. Like this is probably the first year that I've actually felt my body starting to slow down, and it's a scary, scary feeling. You know, I've done a lot of damage to my body over the years. You know, 20 years of boxing. You know, I've had a fair few concussions over my time, injuries. You know, and then on top of that, I've probably overtrained at times, and not let my body recover like it should have. And then the self-destruction periods that I've been through haven't really helped.
See, I would say overtrain is a big one.
It's brutal.
And especially like, I mean, that's the one thing I've noticed as I get older is just like, I mean, it's, look, even when you talk about benders, right? You used to be able to go out on a bender and back it up the next day. As you get older, it takes you 5 days to recover, right? Yeah. And that's why I choose not to go on those benders anymore, just because it wipes out my week, right? And but it's the same with the training. Like I just find that, you know, where you used to be able to go 3, 4, 5 hours and do it day in, day out. You know, these days I go on a 10K run, I can't run for 2 days.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just because my knees blow out and, you know, I'm done. Yeah. So, and that's the one thing I would say, especially with you. I mean, you're very heavy on socials as well. I mean, you see it, like you're constantly, I mean, you've got a new pad holder for you, but like you're constantly, you know, you're training and also like the heavy lifting that you do with what was the guy's name, the animal kid or whatever. When you were doing that, I was like, man, you're just going to blow your back out. And like I kind of get it, but like it's kind of weird. And I get it because on one token, you're always going, I don't want to leave any stone unturned.
Yeah, and that was my problem. That's like for that fight, but like I was like, I'm done everything, and I done too much. It's like, fuck, you can't win, brother. You cannot win. It's like I done everything right, and then I just like done too much, like way too much. get into the fight and you're just exhausted. Like, how can you train so hard and get into a fight and feel exhausted like you've done nothing? Like, afterwards, when I hadn't trained for like 2 months after the fight and I've been doing God knows what, I go into the gym and I feel better. I feel better. I was like, how is this possible? I feel better now than what I did doing all that training.
Because you let your body recover.
Fucking nightmare.
Mate, it's the same. Like I've had times where, like, you know, if you get told to do, say, 100 push-ups every day, right? There comes a point where you can't do it anymore.
No, that's right.
Right? But then, as you say, you give yourself a week break, those push-ups become easy again. And you're like, why? Like, you would think that doing it on a regular basis, it would just become norm. But your body just tears, man. Like,
body breaks down. Your body breaks down. And, like, my body is still going strong, but I realize that I'm tired a lot. Like, I'm tired a lot, man. Like, and I'm working a lot too. Like, I'm holding pads for everyone, and that's another thing. Before the fight, I was holding pads for it, like training so many people. You know, it's just a lot, man. So much. No time just to relax, you know. But it is what it is, man. A lesson learned, a valuable lesson in life that I had to learn, and I learned the hard way. And now I'm 9 months sober. I haven't had a drink for 9 months. I'm feeling pretty good about myself.
So with that though, is it a case now that you're done with it? Like, as in, like, you won't touch a drop, or do you still see yourself having a drink here and there?
Well, I said to myself, I want to do a year sober. And I will do that, and then I'll see what happens. And, like, I'll only drink on wins. You know, a good mate of mine, Jake from G'd Up, he once said to me, Bella, like, you should never drink or do anything when you're feeling down. You know, like, only drink to celebrate a win. You know, whether that's a boxing fight or something you're winning at life, like, you know, in business or relationships or something like that. Like, don't drink for misery, and that stuck with me. So I'll do my year, and then I'll see how I feel. Maybe I won't drink again. Who knows? I know that I'm not the best version of myself when I'm drinking, so I can't offer much to anyone. I can't offer much to myself. Hence why you didn't see me for nearly a fucking year.
Well, I think it's been a year. Like, honestly, because I remember, I will have a dig at you now. I know that you were meant to come for my birthday.
Yeah.
And you didn't show your face.
No. I didn't speak to my father. I didn't speak to anyone for months and months. Just that's it. I just shut down.
So
it's not good.
So apart from the alcohol, though, like, what has changed? Because, I mean, you know, you talk about overtraining and you saying holding pads for people. I still see you out there at No Limits Gym, and I mean, that's a trek and a half too, right? Like, to Preston's, is it?
Preston.
Yeah. You know, so you're obviously still keeping busy, not just with your personal training, but also training others. So when you're, like, looking back at that and you're saying, all right, it's too much. But apart from the drinking now, what has changed? Because, like, as I say, when you look at your socials, you're still doing all of that.
Yeah, but I'm not doing the hard sparring. I'm not getting my head beat in, you know. It's controlled sparring, and, like, I'm 37, brother. I'm not 27. You know, like, I started boxing at 18 years old, and constantly sparring and fighting over years and years takes its toll. And that training camp was just stupid. It was very, very bad sparring, you know. I should have spoke up about it, but I didn't know. I didn't think it would affect me like it did. Billy Hussein used to always, you know, say don't leave it all in the gym, and that's what I did. I left everything in the gym, brother. So that's what's changed.
Looking back on it, is there times that you think you should have stayed with Billy?
No. I got my reasons. I got nothing bad to say about Billy Hussein, but no, definitely not.
No, I just say, like, and that's what I'm saying. It's just like hindsight sort of stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But look, the other thing that I really wanted to I guess, ask you as well is, you know, especially being that you were on the first episode, and one of the major sort of things that was coming back from that episode was obviously that whole can that you opened about mental health. right? You're really open about obviously your childhood and everything like that. Now, obviously, with the state that you're talking about now, you've had this downtime. You took the loss. You went off the rails for a bit, and then on top of that as well, you know, the world is in lockdown. And I just want to kind of ask you on that, because one of the big things that they've been saying is during COVID right now is it's been bad on everyone's mental health.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you, I guess, how has your mental health been during this past, not even this past year, we'll go the 2 years during this whole COVID sort of saga that the world's living in?
Well, the first lockdown I was good because I did my 4-4-48 run challenge. I done my 5-5-7-5 challenge, and I just sort of focused solely on myself, you know. Obviously, then the fight, I went off the rails. I come back. My mother passed away, so I couldn't get home for a funeral. I could get home for a funeral, sorry, but I couldn't get home to see her before she died, which was quite hard. But you know, I've been pretty good. You know, like I've met a beautiful girl. Her name is Katie, and she's been amazing for me. You know, like I used to say, the Olympic Games was my greatest achievement in life, but I feel that she has taken over that number one spot. I met her when I was just 4 weeks coming out of the shit show that I was in, and we've become really good friends and now lovers. And you know, she's been a big part of my recovery as a man, as a person, as a human being, and you know, she's one of the reasons why I keep pushing on. You know, and I want to be better. You know, just if maybe she didn't come into my life, maybe I would have fallen back into that trap of drugs and alcohol. But she gives me a reason to not want to do it, and that's a good thing to have someone like that in your life, because it hasn't been like that. You know, like when my mother passed away, I didn't really know how to feel, and I'm still learning that. You know, like I don't even know if I've dealt with that yet, because I just haven't felt anything. Like me and my mother had a crazy relationship, and she wasn't really there for me when I was younger. But it's still shit when your mother passes away, you know. So like we had to go for the funeral, and she helped me put some words together for the speech that I had to say. And she's just my backbone for the whole time, you know, and was very calm. She's very patient. And she's very loving and caring, and I need someone like that. You know, like I'm hard work, man. I am hard work, trust me. But I'm loyal, and if I love you, I'll give you everything I can. But I've got a lot of demons in my head, you know, like and I'm learning about them. I'm learning to try and deal with them. And I've been speaking to someone again about my problems, a psychologist. OCD specialist I've been speaking to, and that's the thing. Since I moved to Sydney, I was here, like I've nearly been here 3 years, and I didn't speak to anyone the whole time. You know, I had no maintenance on it, and she was a person that made that clear to me that I hadn't, and you know, sort of didn't make me, but pushed me in the right direction to want to go and speak to someone again, and to try and, you know, understand how my mind works, because it's a crazy place to be sometimes in my head, and I can let it take control of me, and it makes me be someone that I don't really like.
No, I can totally understand that. I mean, you know, everyone has a different relationship with their parents as well, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, some do a better job. And look, this is what I get nervous about now. I'm about to have a kid,
Yeah,
right? And
man,
I get
I'm
nervous.
so happy for you.
But you know what I mean? Like I get nervous about that, as we were saying before, is like because there is no manual, right?
No, there's not.
And I believe that all parents kind of do the best to their ability. And sometimes as a kid, you don't understand that, right? Like, because there's been times that I've had fights with my mother, right? Or my dad, we didn't really speak too much. We speak more now than we did earlier in life, right? But then, as you say, there's those moments, and it's really the thing of, you know, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And I think that's the hardest thing sometimes. And you know, even with my partner at the moment, we always say, you know, never go to sleep on an argument.
Yeah.
Right. Because you just don't know.
That's right.
You know,
that's right. You know, like my partner Katie, she's very calm, and she's very good for me because I can fly off the handle pretty quickly, you know. And a lot of my issues have come from my childhood that I didn't even realize, you know. Like, you know, so I'm trying to be calmer. I'm trying to be not so angry at the world. Sometimes I can get a little bit frustrated with things, and you know, road rage and stuff like that. So I'm trying really to be just less angry and just, you know, be a lot more calmer. And I feel that it's really working, and especially the last 3 weeks I've been really good. And we all have our days, but I'm just trying to be a better person, man. That's all I'm trying to do.
now I have to ask you, was it Katie that got you to grow your hair?
It was, yeah. Katie made me grow my hair. Or didn't make me, but she's like, let it grow. So.
I only say because obviously I can see the gold locks, right? And same thing happened to me. I had the same. I had the crew cut, whatever, and
I just
you know,
shave it.
The missus was like, "No, you got to grow some more hair on top," you know. And like, I guess as guys, we don't really care, right? Like, I'm like, well, if it makes you happy, sure, like I'll grow it out. But it's the first thing I noticed because you're the same. You used to wear a lot of hats and this and that, and you've got your hair now. So I was just wondering, obviously, if that
if it keeps her happy, Bella, and I've only got to impress her. I don't have to impress anyone else. If she likes it like that, I'll grow it as long as she wants it.
And she's happy with the beard.
Yeah, she likes a beard.
Right, I guess it's one of those personal preferences, right? Like you either like the stubble or you don't.
You want it or you don't. Simple.
Nice. Now, so who taught her how to hold? Obviously, Katie's the pad holder that I was making mention of before. Was she always good at holding those pads, or was there a little bit of training the trainer? I will call it.
I pretty much. When we met on a run challenge. I went to a run called 440. It's in Bronte. You go there, it's a 5 o'clock start, and the reason they call it 440 is it's 440 meters uphill, and then you come around a loop and you just do 10 laps of it. So I met her there at this run challenge, and then funny story, I seen this girl standing there. I'm like, I don't know, I don't really go up to girls like that, you know. But I went up and I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? I'm Luke. And I said, what's your name? She's like, oh, Katie. I'm like, okay. And then in my head, I'm like, how can I? And I go, what do you do for work? She's like, oh, I'm a yoga teacher. I'm like, oh, sweet. I was like, what studio do you work at? She's like, oh, Self or something like that. She said, so anyway, I got it on the Instagram. I said, oh, is it this one? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, because I wouldn't mind doing some yoga. She says, oh, sweet. So then I went to everyone that they were following and found her through that and then added her. And that was my way in, Bella. So then, and then just kept batting away, you know.
So I have to ask. So how did you slide into the DMs?
I think, to be fair, I think she reacted to one of my boxing things first, and then she's like, I want to do some boxing, and then game over, mate. Who knows boxing better than me? Olympic boxing captain, huh? Where are you going to go? You're not going to go anywhere else, are you? So that was that, and that was my ticket in, and I went with it. If I want something, I'll get it, Bella. And I just kept going until she allowed me to take her out for dinner.
It's crazy, huh? How one person can change your life so much.
Yeah, and she has. Like, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I love her dearly, and I'm excited for the future with her.
And how are the dogs towards her?
Man, the dogs love her. So, you know, I've got Chevy and Inca, and now we have another one. We have Minnie. So Katie's like, I want to get a little puppy. I'm like, are you for real? I've got 2 dogs already, you know? And she's like, oh, she wants an Italian greyhound. So anyway, we're walking through the city one day. I see a guy. When I used to live in Darlinghurst, he seen me. He goes, what dog is that? I said, it's a miniature pincer. He's like, wow, I like that dog. So then he got one. He got a miniature pincer because he seen mine. So anyway, this day, I see him walking and he had 2 min pins. I'm like, oh, you got 2? He's like, here. And he's pushing a pram. He's like, I've got puppies in the pram. I'm like, bullshit. So it's had puppies. So then that was the end of that. We pulled them out. And we ended up buying one of the puppies off him.
And so what happened? Which dog had the problems with the swollen jaw? What happened
So that was
there?
Chevy. He had his jaw just was in bed, and Katie's patting him. He's like, "What's wrong with his jaw?" I was like, looking. He's like, his jaw's all swollen. I'm like, wow. So I take him to the vet, and he had an abscess. His face just went from normal to he looked like me after I fought Cole Frampton, just all swollen up. So he had to get an abscess taken out and a couple of teeth. Cost me about $2, $2,000.
Which, to be fair, sounds like a lot. Mate,
I spent that in about 20 minutes.
Mate, this is the debate that I have with the missus though too, right? Like with pet insurance. Have you seen that? Like some of this pet insurance, right? They charge you more for your dog than they do your own insurance. Like it's crazy, right? So I always say to her, like, nah, I'd rather pay the $2,000 than the monthly, whatever it is. No, and the only reason I ask because when you first posted that photo, I remember Rocky was kind of the same, right? Like he came up one morning up to the bed and he had like this frisbee kind of looking thing, and you touched it, and it was like my first reaction was like, what have you got in your mouth, you know? And started feeling at it, and it was solid. It was like so solid, but it ended up that he was sniffing around and he got stung by a bee.
That's
right.
it.
So literally just puffed up his face, which was kind of crazy.
Good old Rocky. Good dog, mate. Remember the picture with me? Remember Holden?
Well, actually, I mean, as you know, like I did ask if someone had some questions, and one of the questions was, whose dog is in that picture? It's a boxer, and you don't own a boxer. So the story behind that obviously is, and
it's your dog,
it was my
He's
dog.
passed away now. God rest his soul.
Yeah, and
Beautiful dog, wasn't he?
what was that? What was that whole photo shoot?
So that was for my 5575 run challenge. Remember, I come here to do the first podcast.
Yep.
And then afterwards, we done a photo shoot. And that was the day. That was the day because I wanted to do a promotion. Because then the other pictures, you had me running up the street, taking a photo. And then I'm like, give me a picture with Rocky because he's a boxer. And I put it up. I say, so you want to be a boxer? The caption, remember?
That's right. That's right.
He was a good boy. Eh?
And on that, another question that got sent through was, are you going to do another 4-4-52 challenge?
I will. I will do another run challenge. I might finish my career first, my boxing career. That's my sole focus this year. Well, not my sole focus. As an athlete, that's my sole focus. I have a house in Tasmania that's currently on the market, so I'm selling that, and I want to buy a place up in Sydney. This year's just about sorting myself out financially a bit better. I've blown a lot of money in my life. I've got no problem making it, but doing the right thing with it has been a bit tricky, but I'm going to 100% change that this year. I'm looking to buy a nice place in Sydney somewhere. I'm going to have a nice deposit from the place that I sell in Tasmania. And yeah, just get a place and just get ready to make a family.
I have to ask though, are you happy to hang it up? Just say like this fight right now, right? For whatever reason, we're still in this kind of weird time where fights get cancelled, this gets done, and I mean, No Limit did really well the last year of putting on events, right? But a lot of other organizations had issues putting on fights for whatever reasons, right? Say this year slips past. Are you happy? Or you need to have that fight just to put a stamp on?
I'd like to have another fight. So if that's this year or next year, then I'll have one more fight.
Yeah? And where do you
At
feel?
least, just to see how I feel. If I feel shit, then that's it. That's done. But if I feel good, then we'll see. But look, boxing's not everything anymore. That's all I had. That's all I felt I had. I'm seeing a different outlook on life at the minute. So it's not be all and end all, you know.
So what's the outlook now? I mean, last time you were here, you said, I think you said by the time you were 30, and obviously we're way past that moment, but you were talking about that. What was it? You wanted to have a kid, $1 million bucks.
I wanted to be retired from boxing, be married with kids, and be a millionaire. I'm 37. I'm still fucking none of them. Still boxing, not married, haven't got kids, and I'm not a millionaire.
So you can still work on the millionaire
40,
thing.
maybe by the time I'm 40. That's all right.
I mean, the retired by 30, that's long gone. We can't even we can't even grasp at that right now, right? So we're going to go for the family.
Yeah, that's something that I definitely want.
That's one thing people have been doing during COVID.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, yeah, I just want to make sure. I don't think you'll ever be ready for kids, but there's a couple of things I need to have in cement locked in before I do that. My childhood was a bit up and down, and I just want to have a safe zone and happy place for my kids when that time comes.
Yeah, I mean, the scariest thing for me, to be honest with you, the scariest thing for me about having kids is that when I look in the mirror, I still see myself as a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm 41, right? Turning 42. But I still go, nah, mate, I'm a big kid.
Yeah.
Which can be a good thing, I guess, but it can also be a bad thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It can. It's I don't feel my age, but my body does. My body's copped it a lot over the years. So.
And so where do you see the state of Australian boxing now? Obviously, I kind of feel like it is starting to really make a name for itself again. There was that little bit of a lull for a moment there, but obviously now with people like Brock, obviously Sam Goodman had a really good fight.
Sam's a beast, man.
You know, you got Harry Garside now winning the Olympic medal. Like, where do you like, just from you know, one of the as you say, from even being the Olympic captain to now seeing someone achieve that Olympic medal, where do you see Australian boxing?
Well, I think Australian boxing is in great hands. You know, we've got just George Gambosis just beat Teofimo Lopez for the undisputed titles. So, you know, it couldn't get much bigger than that. You know, like what a great win, and good on him. He deserves it. Works his ass off, that kid. So I'm very happy for him. He's a good kid, family man, and very hard worker. Then you got Tim Tszyu, obviously, you know, putting on all the big shows with no limits. So they're a credit to the sport of boxing. They're doing a great job, Matt Rose and the crew, so well done to them. Love another opportunity to fight on one of his shows, which I think Jeff's going to have a speak to him very soon. You got Tasman Fighters also doing great things for Australian boxing. Justice Herney, Dana Caldwell, all them guys. The Maloney brothers, like Andrew, lost his world title in the trilogy, which was pretty upsetting. But he won his comeback fight. We've got Jason Maloney coming for. I think he's chasing a fight with Nonito Donaire. Then we've got Billy Dibb. He's going to fight Jacob Ng. If he wins that, he can get ranked as a lightweight contender. And
is that a made fight now?
Yeah, that's
because I know last time I spoke to him, he said he wanted another fight, but there was nothing.
March 23rd, I think it is, or something like that, in Brisbane.
Yeah, right.
And you got the possible fight between Bilal Dibb and Paul Fleming. That's former teammates, a bit of a rivalry there, bit of a dispute. So that'll be a cracking fight. Jaya Patia. He's on the verge of fighting for a world title next, I think. And then we've got some cracking female fighters. Shannon O'Connell, I mean, she's a warrior. She's been around for that long, and she just keeps winning, man. She keeps beating everyone. You got Taylor Robertson, Ebony Bridges, Sky Nicholson just turned pro. You know, got some good fighters there, man. And Harry Garside, Olympic medalist, which is the first time in 30
years.
30 years. So credit to Harry. Good on him. Keep up the hard work.
And what do you think just with him? Because obviously I had him on the podcast and we spoke about, at that time he wasn't sure if he was going to go pro or if he would stick it out on the amateur circuit. And I remember him talking about obviously that his style is more suited towards amateurs than it is to pro. Now, obviously you having that same sort of path going from the Olympics to obviously becoming a pro fighter. What are some of the things you kind of, I guess, have to change? Because to me, to me it was more like amateurs to pro. To me is the size of the fight, obviously money involved, headgear. So like from a technical, I guess, aspect, what are some of the changes that you feel like he needs to be making?
Well, I guess he's got a great coach in Johnny Lewis, and he knows boxing better than most. But he's just got to slow it down. Not, don't rush. Don't be bouncing around so much on his feet, and sit down on his punches a bit more. Like don't lose his boxing IQ, and he's, a lot of people when they turn pro, they think, just got to stand there and take punches, which is not the case. He still can be elusive. He's a good mover on his feet. But just settle the bouncing around and when he throws his shots, commit to him, because I'm sure he's got power. He's just got to find it, and he's young and he's got plenty of time. So he's got a good team around him. He's got Baby Matreski as his manager, and he's signed with No Limits. So, and he's got Johnny Lewis as his coach. So great team, and I wish him all the best.
And I have to ask about Brock, obviously, just because you are working with Jeff as well. What's next for him? Because he won a pretty big fight. Was it last year?
Last
year. I don't even know when it comes to timer at the moment. I'm just like, during COVID, he won a fight. It was on American soil. Has he got his next sort of fight lined up? Do you know, or what are they kind of looking at?
I think they're looking in March for Brock. I think Jeff was talking about it this morning, actually. He was on the phone to someone to try and organise that with the crew, but Brock's a tremendous puncher. He's got good power in his hands, and he works his ass off. So, he got a lot of slack from the last fight that he had, but like, he won the fight, man. He got caught with a shot, and he showed heart and guts, and he come back and won. So, you fight a bum, you knock him out, you get bagged. You fight someone good, you get beat, you get bagged. You fight someone not so good, you get hurt, you win, you get bagged. Like, people are crazy, man. People are absolutely crazy, and we're probably the crazy ones for letting them have an opinion on us and getting upset about it, because they mean nothing, these people with their opinions, so.
No, I mean, the only thing, and I remember that fight, the only thing I did think is like, and you say he hits hard, but like, I was like, mate, he's got a chin on him. Because he did get clocked in the early rounds.
Man. And he didn't go down, like, he's just like, he's a soldier, and that happens. Like, you swim, you're going to get wet, man. Like, you box, you're going to get hit, and everyone's got an opinion about everyone, but they wouldn't do what these people do. Like, it's like me having an opinion on you, how you run your podcast, but I couldn't do it, brother. Like, so why am I going to have an opinion? Like, people just need to shut their mouth a bit, and the world would be a better place if people thought about what they said before they say it.
But I mean, it's so easy these days, right? Twitter fingers.
Fuck.
But it's also hard, I guess, because, as I say, you're very active on social. That's why a lot of athletes as well choose to stay off social, right?
Yeah.
Because they just don't want that noise either. So it's a fine line to kind of tiptoe along.
Yeah, people are crazy, brother.
But what's next for you in the sense of, like, we'll finish with the fighting stuff, right? So you have a fight, you don't have a fight, you have 2 fights, whatever. What does life after fighting look like for you? Are you going to take up more of a coaching role? Or?
Yeah, I will definitely be a part of boxing somehow, whether that's with Jeff as a assistant trainer or doing my own thing. But I will open up a gym here one day, a boxing gym, maybe a bit of yoga, a bit of meditation as well, something like that. My girlfriend's really big into meditation and yoga. Be a nice mix. Yeah, just make some money, brother. Make some money. Have some kids. Live the good life.
Some or one?
Huh?
Some or one?
I have a few.
See, at the moment we're at 1 and done. But then again, I'm a little older.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Like we have been umming and erring this last kind of 9 months now. Like it's kind of like, do we give it a little sibling or not?
Yeah,
right?
they need a brother or sister, brother.
It's well, I don't know, man. I was an only child until I was 17.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, but now I've got a sister. Yeah. But I mean, as a child, I was an only child, so wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
wasn't too bad.
Doing good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you kind of go, I wish I had someone there, but then there's other times when as I say, like when I was 17, all of a sudden I was like, fuck, all the attention's gone off me now, right? So like as an only child, you do have that where where the attention is all on you, and it's easy living in that sort of sense.
Yep. Yeah, look, one or 2 or 3 or whatever, but I'd just be happy to have the opportunity to be a father one day. I think it's something that I'll really take with both hands and be the best I can.
Boy or girl, don't care.
I'd love a little girl. Yeah, but I don't care.
Yeah, I didn't care either. I just literally said, as long as it's healthy.
Yeah. Do you know what you're having?
A boy.
Hey, a boy. Wow.
A boy. We had to double and triple check.
Yep.
The missus didn't believe it, so she was like, "Are you sure?" And they get the ultrasound out, and they're like, "Yep, they're the little pebbles there. It's definitely a boy."
That's a boy. What are you gonna call him?
I don't know if I want to mention it right now. Like, I'll probably tell you afterwards. So the name has been picked, but we're kind of leaving it.
Call him Lucas.
Well, no, it's
Lucas.
It's just a case of like, once again, and I mean, going back to your thing about everyone's always got an opinion, right?
Yeah.
Like, so the one thing is like everyone's like, oh, you need to call him this, you need to call him that, you need to call him that, and it just gets to a point where it's like we've picked a name and it's kind of like that's what it is, and let's try to, because we just know if you announce it now, people will be there going, that's a stupid name, or like it's the same thing, and it's like, hang on a sec, it's not your child, right? It's and so I kind of feel like once again, people are so easy to jump on board and criticize, and as they say, opinions are like assholes. Yeah. Everyone's got one, right? Let's have a couple more questions. Hang on, what have we got? So one said, how has he adjusted his everyday life from having bad OCD?
It's been a tough one because OCD changes. The triggers, the things change. So when I was growing up, it was touching things and counting things and stuff like that. Then it becoming, I had a breathing thing where I'd have to go like that, and if I couldn't catch my breath, then I'd start getting, I'd feel shortness of breath, so then I'd start fucking getting anxious, and it would do my head in. Then it was like a lot of things, man. There's a lot of things, and it keeps changing, so you just got to break the habits. And how I've learned to deal with that is by, obviously, I take medication for this, and I speak to a psychologist. Her name is Lisa. She's from Tasmania, and I do Zoom calls with her or FaceTime on my phone, and she just goes over the basics of what the issues are and the tools that I need to try and beat this. So it's an ongoing thing, It's like living in in hell some days, you know. Like some days I feel that shit that I just sleep all day because I'm just so fucking over it. I can't get a hold of it. But then the next day it'll be okay, and I find that the more tired and stressed I am with work and training and that, then my OCD will flare up. And if something comes into my mind, if I give that thought the energy, it can take over. But if I just sort of allow it to be there and don't give it too much attention, it will pass. But if it's there and my whole thought process just goes to that thing that's just in my head, whether that thing be, you know, the breathing thing or touching something, or, you know, like I've had a lot of issues with, you know, with drinking and stuff like that. If I just allow it to be there and just, it'll pass.
Let me ask you this. I mean, you said to me earlier that just before Christmas as well, you came down with COVID.
Yeah.
Did that send your OCD into overdrive? Like, did your OCD start?
It didn't. No, it was funny. It's funny. My OCD is very strange from time to time, and a lot of it is like I get so angry sometimes, man. Like I get angry, and that's one thing that I said I'm working on, just being a lot calmer. Like, mate, some days I could feel like I walk through a wall, brother. Like I get so angry.
No, and the only reason I ask is because, like, I haven't had it. The missus hasn't had it. But sometimes I feel like she's kind of OCD about it because she's so worried about getting it right now, especially while she's pregnant, right? Like, so that's why I'm asking, like, was there a point when you've obviously had it, like, did you start to panic? Did it like consume you in the sense of, like, because once again, it's one of those things that nobody knows anything about in a sense, right? And I, like me, I'm pretty relaxed about it. As I said, because I've kind of been a ninja about it, and I've just been lucky. But I could also see myself, like, if I did somehow fall into the virus, that I would probably panic and it would consume my mind, you know, because then you'd be like, I'd be on Google, like, how do I fight this? How do I do this? How do I do that?
I used to be like, and I used to worry about things like that. I used to worry a lot, but now I don't really worry about anything. Like my relationship, I worry about that. Like, that was one thing that I was really panicking about. Like I was thinking like something was going to go wrong. Like I was worried that I was going to, like I was just like, fuck, it's like someone's going to ruin this, you know, like, because I'm so happy and I'm just like, I'm waiting for something to go bang. It's like, so this is too good to be true. Like, it's too perfect. This woman's too perfect. Life's too good. Something's going to go fucking bang and it's going to blow up. So I was really stressed about that. But then I'm just like, you know what? Just try and be present. And the thing with my OCD, I live in the past a lot. And I dwell on the past of my past, my partner's past, your past. Like, if whoever's past, I'll dwell on it, and I'll just, like, I'm very upset with myself that I wasted a lot of time in my life, you know, drinking and doing drugs and stuff like that. So, but it's done. Yesterday's done, brother. You know, so that's one thing that I'm learning, just to be present, and it's very hard for me, but I'm trying to be better at that.
I guess also, does your partner notice when you're having these spells? Like,
yeah, she's the best, brother. Honestly, she's the best. She's helped me a lot. She's very, like I said, she's very understanding. She's very calm, and she knows a lot about me. She knows a lot.
But I'm saying, like, does she know to then leave you alone during those periods, or like how can she, like, I guess for anyone listening as well, like if they have a friend or a family member that kind of suffers with that, like, what's the best thing for someone on the outside to do? Is it to give you space? Is it to like what is it that helps?
I guess like if someone's struggling, the worst thing you could do is give them space, I feel. She just loves me harder on them days. She loves me more that's like the best advice I could give to anyone that's going through a shit time. You know, if you're going through a shit time, Dennis, I'm just gonna love you more as a brother. You know, like I'm gonna love you even more, and that's what she does to me. You know, like when I'm feeling shit, she loves me more, and she shows it, and she's just very patient with me, man. You know, like, and I'm very grateful for her. Like she's a good person.
And I will give you that. So before I took a dig that you didn't turn up to my birthday, but I will say that when Rocky passed away, you did reach out. I do remember that too. See, I remember these things. I do remember these things. But look, we'll just start to wrap things up.
Yep.
I'll put a few more questions out. I'll first see if you can even guess who this question's from. It says, Jacko, when are we playing chess? Do you know who that's from?
Is that from Brendan? Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we're too old, man.
Oh, really? So it's an ongoing tournament?
Yeah. Does he live at Ryde? Does he ride his bike there?
No, well, I saw him at the Sam Goodman fight, and I thought he lived... Because I said, do you still live around
me? He lives in Maroubra.
No. I think he said Surrey Hills or something.
Yeah? I thought Maroubra.
I'm not sure, but... Because I was the same. I said, "Oh, you still living out our way? Because then we should catch up." And he's like,
"You know, I'm right into chess. That's something that I've really, like. I'm obsessed with. So on my year sober, when I do my year sober, I'm going in a chess tournament."
The one thing I was just about to say is, don't go to New York.
No, they're good.
Oh, mate, like you step off the subway and you've just got like maybe 10 guys and they all play that speed chess, right?
Wow.
And straight away, but this is the thing, it's a hustle, right? So like literally they're like, yeah, come play. And you sit down, you play with them and then you get hooked into it. And then next thing you're playing for money, right? And these guys play chess all day, every day. Wow. So it's like a straight up hustle. So I'm just saying if you
I'll do it, but I'll get my ass. I don't care. Like I'm going to
so
go there.
Once again, this is how you lose your money.
Yeah. On my 1 year sober is the 1st of May. I'm going to play in a chess tournament. Yeah, so you play 6 games against 6 different people and so there you go. I don't care if I get my ass kicked in every game. It's a challenge. It's what I like to do.
Nice. All right, so another one. What are some of the things that you think about when you're weeks away from your fight?
How am I going to make this weight? I'm hungry. I can't wait to eat. It's just, how the fight's going to play out. You've been training so long. Am I going to get injured before the fight? Because I'm getting weaker now with the cutting the weight. I've got to be careful I don't get injured, make sure I'm sleeping well. Just basic stuff, like I never worry about have I worked hard enough because that's usually the other end of the scale. But yeah, I just try and stay calm and try and stay focused on what I'm doing and listen to my coach.
And on that one, this will be the last question that I throw out is obviously you've got a new training partner in Jeff Fennick, and because you brought about listening to your coach, will you be adopting any new styles or techniques?
Yeah, he's taught me a lot already. Just different things with my hand position. Like everyone knows, like I'm always like this. So just having to look a bit more and catching some shots and not being so defensive like this and just letting my hands go from there. Just a bit more movement with my hands. Which is something that I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying learning it. So.
And how's he moving these days?
He trained with us today. He done some exercise with us today at the end with the dumbbells and the ski erg, and yeah, he's fit, man. He's still got it.
He's still got it?
He's still got it.
Crazy, huh? It's one of those things that it's like riding a bike. You never quite forget. I mean, once again, you slow down. Your reaction's a little slower, but yeah, I mean, but I mean, look, he's good in the commentary box now too,
yeah,
right?
Great. He's great. That's something I'd like to do one day. To get a job, commentating for fights. It'd be great.
Yeah,
be good. So,
would you ever want to be a judge?
mate. I wouldn't do fighters wrong like some of them do. That's just
Well, that's why I'm asking, right? Because
okay,
I mean, this is the common thing that they always say is that like ex-fighters would become really good judges. But I kind of debate that sometimes because I kind of also feel like if you've been on the circuit long enough, right, you're going to be pro certain fighters. And I think that can sway your decision sometimes. And I know everyone goes in with the best intentions and they're like, no, I'm going to be as fair as possible. But I do find that, you know, if you've had history, like, I don't know, like he's like an ex, like training partner of yours is fighting against some guy that you don't know, I kind of feel like having that relationship can...
Some of the judges just sit there with their eyes shut, brother. So, I mean, Australian boxing is in great hands, but the judges and referees need to be fucking just done over, mate. Like, they do my head in, honestly. They do my head in, brother. Some of the judges, the way they score fights, it's just they got no idea. And like so many fighters after my fight, like George Gambosis, Andrew Maloney, all these guys from overseas, they message me, they say, What was the judges looking at? You won that fight. Clear. This is what, like, it's Australian judges are bad, man, honestly. So
I will say one thing, though, is could it also have been, and once again, I'm not taking a knock on the corner or anything, but because obviously I was ringside there too, and I will have to say I felt that his corner was a lot louder than yours. And I know you're saying that your corner couldn't be in there with you and stuff like that. But what I mean by that as well is, and I got this off one of the MMA coaches, and they were talking about, especially in this period where there's been like less crowds, right? They're very vocal on like, do this. And then once you do it, they're like, hey, so they let the judges know that they've done something. And I will just say, that's the one thing I picked up on. I was like, I could really hear Tyson's corner.
Yeah, I could hear Jamie as well. I could hear Jamie calling as well. But at the end of the day, you know, I threw that many more punches than the guy, and he threw the heaviest shots, but a lot of them hit my gloves, and like I threw a lot more punches. I threw 3-1, you know, and punches win fights, you know, like, and you know, it doesn't matter how much you yell. Like, the judges, fuck, mate. Like, how long have you been judging for? What, you're going to let a voice dictate your thinking? Like, are you a novice judge or something? Like, what's going on? Like, this is stuff that they should be taught, Billy, you know? Like, okay, so the crowd's going to be anti-Luke Jackson. They're going to be pro-Tyson Lynch. So don't listen to the crowd. Don't listen to the corner. Focus on what's happening in the ring. Like,
but I'm saying, like, in all cases of sport, look, it happens in football as well, right? You'll have the crowd and they'll be like, you know, you need some glasses, you need this, you need that, you know,
look,
and a ref will make a bad call because they feel that pressure as well. So I'm not saying you've got to...
look, what could have went wrong did go wrong for me that night. I felt shit, too much hard sparring. I got cut, my first cut with a head clash. My corner... Fidel wasn't in there. I had 3 different blokes trying to talk to me in the fucking corner. It was a nightmare. And I was fatigued, man. But it is what it is. I'm here to fight another day, and I believe that
day will come this year.
Yeah, and that loss put me in the direction that I'm at now, and it's put me in the path that I'm following in my life now. I feel that it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
All right, so let's end it on a positive.
A positive? I haven't told you I went skydiving, brother.
Oh, mate, how good. How good is that?
Mate, my girlfriend organised the best day for my birthday. We jumped out of a plane 15,000 feet high, jumped straight out. It was like the best buzz. Like, we're gonna pay money to do our solo one. So you
20 jumps.
No, it's 10.
Is it? When I jumped, they said it's like 20 jumps until you can do your solo.
No, it's 10. So we're going to pay. We do 10 jumps, then I'm going to jump fucking out of a plane by myself. It's like, brother.
It's crazy, huh?
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Oh, I love that shit. Mate, I love it. Like, honestly, I jumped straight out of a plane. I'm just like, this is like wild.
And are you scared of heights?
I'm getting amped up thinking of, no, I'm not scared of nothing, brother.
I don't know, mate. I'm not scared of heights, but I'll tell you what. Did you go up in a little Cessna?
Yeah.
right?
I was more worried in the plane, but like, I'm not scared of that sort of stuff. But like, I'm scared of failing. I guess that, but like, death and that, like jumping out of a plane, or I'm not really scared of that.
Yeah, nah. To me, that was the biggest buzz. I think the only thing that trumped jumping out of a plane was stepping into a cage, which is what you do.
Yeah,
Like to me,
you know
like
what? You know what, Bella? They said to me, they go, "It was this worse than fighting?" I said, "Nothing beats fighting. Like what am I gonna do? I'm sitting in a plane and I'm just gonna jump out. Like that's like fighting's a lot harder than that. Like way harder."
nah, because I'm a junkie when it comes to that. I used to love roller coasters. Then you do the skydiving, roller coasters become a bit of a
Have
like
you bungee
what I mean?
jumped?
No, but like
I want to do that now.
because of my knees and stuff, like, and I
Come
know
on,
it. I know
I'm
it's
hearing fear, a bit of excuses.
no.
Bit
See,
of
because I'll jump out of the
scared.
plane.
You
I'll
scared,
go
brother?
I'll go with no rope attached. That's what
You
I'm saying.
scared, brother?
I'm worried about my joints.
Come on, brother. It's like someone saying your retinas come out when you bungee jump. Like, it is what it is. The parachute might not open.
I'm getting
up.
old, bro.
The parachute might not open, brother. You got to just take a risk.
Yeah, but the thing is, if the parachute doesn't open, I won't be around to whinge about it. If the
never know, brother.
if the bungee pulls my knee out of the socket, right, I'm going to be around for another 20 years
Right.
talking about how I shouldn't have gone bungee. Now, I mean, would you helicopter bungee?
I'd love to. We should do that. When the baby's born, let's do it.
I kind of feel like we're going for a trip to New Zealand.
Let's do it,
That's
brother. I'd
kind
love
of
to.
like,
Is that where it's at?
mate, that's where like bungee became a real thing, right?
Really?
AJ Hackett, yeah. So AJ Hackett was kind of like the original bungee jump dude, and he was the guy that did the what's the tower in Paris? The Eiffel Tower. Like he did all the crazy stuff. So you go to like Queenstown, that's where they have the heli bungee. They have the bungee off the shot over bridge. They have the shot over jet where this jet comes flying down the canal, does like 360 spins where you're like millimeters off like the gorge walls and stuff like that. Like, yeah, man, Queenstown's where it's at.
Wow, love
Like,
to head.
and then you do a little bit of skiing, a little bit of snowboarding on the side. I did the one thing I did there is the whitewater rafting. Have you done that stuff?
No.
Whitewater rafting, that's a buzz, dude. Yeah. Like, that's a buzz. Because all you're doing is in such a frantic kind of mode, right? Like, literally, like, same thing. You're just listening to the captain at the front, like, paddle, 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 you know? And, like, they don't give you enough time to think about it. And then you paddle, and then you come to this, like, waterfall drop. And before you've even got time to think about it, all right, you're already in the canyon. Like, it's a done deal. But, man, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should... especially like depending on how all these border closures and stuff, you know, reopen. New Zealand's probably going to be the easiest one to get to.
Yeah,
too.
I've never been to New Zealand, so I'd love to.
Are you down for that? Yeah. All right. Well,
she's down.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll give the baby a couple of months to, you know, get used to life first, but
and then we'll chuck it over a plane.
But yeah, I mean, it's an easy trip too. It's like 3 hours. It's literally a 3-hour trip. Boom, we're over there. And as I say, Lake Wanaka, beautiful, cold, very cold, but let's do it.
Done.
Well, on that note, man, pleasure as always.
Thank you for having me on there, brother.
Thank you for coming once again.
Number 1 and number 51.
So I guess the next time we get you on is at 101. So we're just going to give you the ones every single time
number
now.
1. I'm born the 1st of January, brother. January 1. So
really now?
Sense. Yeah, it's my birthday, brother.
The 1st?
1st of Jan.
Fuck. Now I know where the benders come from.
Yeah.
Did your parents used to tell you? I remember I had a friend that was born on the 31st. Did your parents ever tell you that the fireworks were for your birthday?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Many people have said that. Many people.
How's that? I mean, smart.
It's like, I'll organise all these fireworks for you for your birthday. It's like, yeah, sweet.
Oh, I bet you believed it too, right?
Yeah, no.
But anyway, man, until episode... Oh, but 101's now... Oh, no, that's still 50. I was going to say that's 100 episodes away. No, that's still 50. So every 50.
How many concussions have you had?
Oh, too many.
Too many.
And my worst one came through basketball, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was knocked out flat. And all right, we'll finish it on this. The funny story with that, right? I was knocked out flat, copped it in the nose, broke my nose. I literally had, I don't know what you call it, but clunky bits on the ground. So it wasn't just blood. There was like, I don't even know what it was. So they freaked out. The paramedics came. They called the ambulance and stuff like that. And it was when I originally moved from New Zealand to Australia. So then the paramedics, once they got me up and talking, they were asking me, they're like, all right, so when's your birthday? And I could answer that. And then suddenly they go, who's the Prime Minister of Australia? And I couldn't tell them to say much. But it wasn't because I was concussed.
Yeah, because you had no idea. That's
I was like, I was like, I can tell you who the New Zealand Prime Minister was, but I couldn't tell you who the Australian one was. But yeah, so anyway, they rushed me to the hospital. But that was probably the worst concussion I had, and that was from an elbow.
Wow.
To the nose. But there we have it. Anyway, thank you once again. I was going to say, stay on that sober tip. Stay strong, and hopefully we'll get some fight news out of you real soon. But until then,
thank you.
Thank you.
I'm away.